Hello and welcome to the Maple Lion podcast. I'm Sam. I'm joined as always by my good friend Matt. How are you doing today, pal?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very well. I mean, it's still raining in Manchester. I think that's 3 episodes on the bounce now. And today we are joined by Steve from Bristol 5-piece country band Hicktown Breakout. This is the Maple Lion podcast. Great. Welcome to the show, Steve. Thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for the invite, guys.
No worries at all. So we just want to find out from you, first of all, how did the band start? How did you guys get together? And just tell us a bit about the backstory.
Yeah, sure. So Aaron Willis, who's our lead singer, I've known him for quite a while. So before starting out Hicktown Breakout, we were in a prog rock type band for a few years. And it was sort of running, it got to an end of its life, really. We wanted to do something different. And what I didn't know is that Darren's pretty much background was inherent country, but never really went out and formed a country band, but always wanted to. So we took a view that we'll kill our last rock band. And we wanted to look into the country market, see what was going on there. And we thought, what a massive opportunity to start a band in the sort of country sort of rock genre. So we went out 2017, we got together, put the band together. We initially wanted to get out there quickly. So Hicktown was really a covers band to start with, was always going to become an originals band. Through 2017, 2018, just sort of toured out there, got some really good interest, got some fans really quickly. It was definitely a market. Rest is history.
Okay, so prog rock to country music. That's a bit of a big change up. That is. So you formed Hicktown in 2017, and you released EP in your first original singles last year, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Hicktown.
Yes, and I've got that EP on my favorite list on Spotify at the moment. I love the song "You Lied." I really it almost sounds like it has a blues sound to it as well. That song.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And myself personally, I like "Drink It Down." I like my music a little bit more raw, heavier, and I think it really sort of complements my taste in music. And if you drink it, if you're singing about whiskey, you've got me on board.
You should meet the guy. Apologies for the other guys can't make it. Saturday's quite a hard day. Most of them are working, so I'll take this. But yeah, if you met the guys, we all share an interest in beer and Jack Daniels. We definitely try and live the country thing. But yeah, Drink It Down was us. I mean, that was a song brought in by Zach when we brought Zach as a guitarist in. We can go through sort of who else is in the band, but it was Zach's idea. He ran with a previous band, but never really got going. So he brought it to us. And within a few weeks of just sitting around the table and putting some ideas together, that came out as the immediate sort of first song. We thought, yeah, let's get it out, because it was different. We're not trying to be anyone else in the country and rock genre. We're trying to be us. But it's got all sorts of influences in there. Rockabilly we've got rockabilly in there. We've got prog rock. We've got pop. We've got metal. We've got huge mix of influences around the table with Hicktown Breakout. With Darren, keeping us like herds of sheep, just trying to keep us pointing towards the country genre. But we think we're creating quite a unique sound.
Yeah, on your socials, you describe yourself as crossover country. So is that sort of what you're trying to get across there, that you are bringing a lot of different influences into the band and the music that you put out?
Yeah, that's a really good point. With music, there's always a risk, isn't there? If you don't sort of fit in a box, people aren't going to know who you are, or it's hard to go out and get fans. So, it's the crossover country term was actually from a review we had when we released the EP, and it's quite hard to find a term to say, are we country rock? Yes, we are, but we've got a lot of other rocky influences, and also some pop influences coming through as well. So crossover country seemed to be a term. I thought, okay, let's put that out there. The fact you've described it back to me, you sort of understood it. It gives me confidence that people also know what crossover country is, because we are playing with the marketing at the moment, and this is what this year's doing for us as we're not gigging. It's really building our brand and trying to communicate to people actually who we are and what we want to be.
Well, so I live in Canada, so I hear country music all the time. It is absolutely rife in the area that I live in, and so my wife's a big country song girl, and her sisters and her brother like a bit of country music too. And so when I first heard your track on Spotify, I sent it straight to them straight away, saying, "I've just discovered a UK country band." And I was just like, tell us what you think. And the reaction, like, my wife really likes your music, and her sister-in-law was like, that's like a really catchy jingle going on there. So it's not too dissimilar to stuff like Jason Aldean, who is like country but a lot rockier country. So there was a lot of appreciation for that, your tracks in this area that I've played it to so far.
That's really interesting, because we're getting some interest from the States. We got around bits of Europe. France are quite interested in what we're doing. Canada, great. I mean, this is the fascinating thing about music, isn't it? Original music, you put things out and you've got no idea really how people are going to receive it. So, comments like that, mate, I'll take that every day of the week.
Well, it's interesting to say that, Steve, because we had a singer-songwriter, Vince Freeman, on the podcast last week, and his music went all the way to South Korea,
Wow.
and it got a really good following. One song in particular, Race and Hell, got a really big following in the line dancing community over in South Korea. So it's really interesting that you say that, and you're actually already sort of getting over to international audiences. But your main focus to try and introduce the English market to country music, because it must be difficult, considering that it's not really. Most people would say it's not well received in this country. I mean, there are pockets of fans, but are you finding it difficult to get that across to the audience base in the UK?
Yeah, I don't think it's finding it difficult, because I don't think we're trying to push over. We're not trying to educate a market, say you must love country because we love it because of this. It's we just want to bring our own brand out there with a country element to it. So I guess what we have found is early days when we spoke to people about country, certainly when we were in rock bands before and knew other bands, you mentioned this, people go, what the hell, what, you going to be Dolly Parton or something, or I've heard of Garth Brooks, and people assume that country was going to be that classic genre, which I actually do love. I've spent a lot of time looking at the sort of back catalogues of, Willie Nelson and Travis Tritt and those sort of guys. But I think the UK market, right, for guys like the Shires coming through, that sort of educates a little bit. So the Lady Antebellum, who I actually really like, the new album I think is brilliant. I think we're a slightly rockier version, a rocky version of those guys at some points. But yeah, I think it's getting there. But we're lucky because we can sit across different genres. We think we're really getting pulled into indie charts. I saw the other day we're a top of an indie chart. I mean, who knew? I got that through Twitter. It's like there we are. It's we're not worried about it. We want people to like our flavour of music, and it's got a country element. So we're pulling in people who think, okay, we're connected to people through social media who like country. They're coming to the gigs, and most of them are saying, this is interesting stuff, So far, we're sort of, on mission.
One of the big things that always helps with country music is having a unique voice, and your lead singer definitely does have a unique voice. A lot of country singers, when you listen to them one after the other on the radio, you're like, well, where did the last track end and where did this one begin? But your lead singer definitely has a voice that you can recognise and go, oh yeah, that's Hicktown.
Yeah, that, you know, that's what we always thought was going to be the sort of unique selling point, I guess, of Hicktown. I mean, what we wanted to do is we wanted to have a guitar-filled sound. So we've got 3 guitars. We've got Darren, who's lead singer, who plays acoustic, and then there's Zach and myself, who share the sort of rhythm and lead. So, you know, we've got a big sound. I mean, we needed a big voice to pitch over that. And Darren absolutely has that. But you're right. I mean, when I was in our previous band recording an EP, I remember the engineer at the time saying to Darren, you're sounding very American. Can you not sound so American? And he goes, what do you mean? He says, it's just my style of singing. So actually coming into a country sort of, you know, related genre, there may be some of that. And I think that sort of twang he's got, is that sort of gritty edge to his voice, really works with a sort of country sound. I mean, Darren's been, I mean, he used to be a redcoat. He'll shoot me for saying this. You know, he's been on the stage since a very young age. And he's also, he's been in previous bands on tour with the likes of McFly, you know, doing Wembley, been at Japan, all sorts. We've got loads of experience. So, you know, him on stage in a live environment, he really throws it out, probably more so sometimes what you're hearing in the EP.
I think it's safe to say that in the short time that you guys have been around, you've already broken through many barriers that a lot of bands and artists haven't been able to do. And one example of that would be your live lounge with the BBC. I saw that on YouTube the other day.
Yeah.
Still up there, available to go and watch. Definitely go and check that out if you can. And so how did that opportunity come about?
Yeah, good question. So we work with a social media company called, actually we work with 2 companies to help with our promotion. So there's Country Music Social Media, who look at the aspects of, you know, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So they support us getting out there, work with us and getting content. But as part of, there's another company which is connected to Country Music Social Media, which is called Scarlet River Management. What these guys do is help us with venue bookings, that sort of stuff. But they've got also access to a lot of DJs and TV channels. So we had a gig that day. It was in Devizes. And yeah, in the afternoon, we got an opportunity to go in and do a live lounge, which was brilliant. It's felt really, really fun.
Yeah, it's an incredible achievement because, like I said before, you know, you've got lots of artists that are trying to break that barrier. And it's just incredibly difficult. So if you've got the right connections and you can do it, it's obviously the right thing to do. And it sounded great, and you know, obviously got you quite a bit of exposure as well.
Yeah, it's. I think all bands are out there, are all scrobbling around trying to get seen, noticed, and build credibility. And you know, it is competitive in there, although less so in the country scene because it's very small. So we don't feel we've got any competitive competing bands. Where we were in rock genre, there were 20, 30 other bands sounding just like us. You know, so it was really challenging. But yeah, I think it's things like that which helps us get the right visibility. And credibility. You know, we're always looking now, certainly moving into the next year now, bigger gigs, bigger venues, bigger festivals, and hopefully at some point you're going to be sort of touring Europe and potentially the States as well, but nothing's set in stone yet.
Well, you'll definitely do well if you come to North America. People love that country sound, especially like East Coast, where I live in New Brunswick, and it's very, very rural, and people love their country music here. So if you came here, you'd probably do really well.
Okay, book us a few gigs, mate. We'll come out. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's, you know, playing on American turf would be a dream. There are opportunities for us, we think, but you know, this COVID thing's put us back a year really from that side of things.
Yeah,
but you know, it's what it is, mate.
COVID's been a pain in the backside.
Yeah, could say that.
So yes, you've released your first EP. You released your first. Was it 2 singles you released off that EP, which was Rosie and is it Joe's?
Jolie. So yeah, so we got released. So Drink It Down was the first single. Then we did a release on Jolie, and then we actually released the album, the EP, which had those 2 songs on it. Plus I had You Lied, and then Roses, which was the other new one.
So, and they seem like they've been well received. Every time I go on Spotify, there always seems to be a few more plays on the play figures for that. And on your website, I saw the other day that there are plans to release a second EP pretty soon as well.
Yeah.
Is it going to be 4 tracks? Are going to be more than 4 tracks at this point?
It's really interesting. That's a good question. So yeah, it was going to be 4 tracks originally, but we were obviously, if COVID wasn't happening, we would already been in the studio. We'd already been done. We were going to go in April. Obviously, that those plans have shifted. So we're now in the studio. It's all booked up for October. Okay. So after that process is finished, we're obviously going to be looking to release it probably the back end of the year. And yeah, it's I mean, the EP process itself is interesting. Writing in the studio as well as writing before we go in there, it's still a thing we're working out. But we're now up to 5 tracks, and I think there's so much new ideas coming in the band. We've almost had to put a plug on it, and say let's just keep focusing on what we've got at the moment. But there's so much contribution around the band. We might end up with 6 or 7 tracks on it. Who knows? It might end up as an album by the time we get to October.
That was I was going to lead into that. So you got 1 EP. You're planning to do a second EP. Are those 2 EPs going to come together in an album, or were you working on an album beyond the EP?
Yeah, so we were planning. I mean, we think the next thing's going to be an EP, and then after that, we might put Greatest Hits out there, perhaps. We do want to write an album, but what we don't want to do is wait until the new year now to get some new music out. I mean, 2000, we released the last EP in November 2019. So, it still feels quite current. We're still pushing that. Still a lot of people who haven't heard the material, so that's brilliant. But we do ultimately want to have an album, on vinyl, all the bells and whistles. That's a dream from all of us point of view. But as an interim, yeah, let's get another EP out there back end of the year. And what we'll do is then look to tour that. We'll tour both EPs in one go. It gives us sort of a good hour set of original music to tour around the UK.
Marvellous. And is there, from your limited time gigging already, is there anything that's happened at any gigs or any things like that you would like to sort of tell us about? Any interesting stories from any gigs that you've done?
Yeah. So we did some videos about a month ago. We recorded some YouTube videos on each individual band member. We thought we'd bring people into that. If you haven't seen that, check that on YouTube. Some of them are quite funny. But one of the questions we brought in there was, do you have a Spinal Tap moment? Some people don't even know Spinal Tap is, so that's totally cool. So a Spinal Tap moment is, something which went wrong or bad or quite funny. So, I mean, stories from us, we've got a couple. The one that sticks in my mind is we played in a stage, which is a big inflatable stage, right. And the stage started to deflate around us after we got about 45 seconds into the first song, which was pretty interesting. I remember at one point, I think I had a guitar, my hand on my neck, a guitar neck, whilst my other hand was sort of pushing the top of this thing, which obviously was weighted tan. So there was some plastic bag got stuck in the vent behind it. Apparently it started deflating. So that was quite funny. Another festival we did, we ended up blowing 2 generators. So the first one we blew because we just had way too much equipment on stage, we think. They went to the backup generator, we blew that as well. So that's yay for Hicktown for blowing up stages. So that's a warning for future venues, maybe. Sort your power out.
So you've I've lost where my thought was now. So you can't gig at the moment, okay, because of COVID-19. Have you got any dates set yet for going forward for gigging, to start gigging? Is there a date in mind? Have you?
Yeah. So yeah, each week, each month, these festivals are just coming out the diary. We also did a lot of sort of we still sort of gig around sort of clubs and stuff like that as well. So yeah, they're all each month they're just coming out the diary. What we do have, so our next gig, which has been moved to right at the end of October, is Country on the Coast Festival down in Portsmouth. A huge lineups, 3-day event. We're on Friday night. We're not headlining on Friday. We're one before, so that'll be wicked. So that's the first gig. Who knows what happens when COVID's still going on, isn't it? But we would like to think that venue is going to be ready to rock in October. So that's the only gig we're going to have this year. So everything else seems to be all clearing out at the moment. We're obviously going to start looking to book for 2021.
Right. So yeah, that's a lot of people have been like that. I have seen a few videos on Facebook of a couple of other bands I follow, where I think my cousin plays in a band called The Ticks, and I seen a video of them that they posted the other day, and it looks like they managed to do something live somewhere. I'm not 100% sure whether it was recorded ages ago and just released, or whether they've just been able to do it. It was a very small crowd, so
we've thought of the place we go and rehearse, and that's the thing we've only got now. We rehearse every Monday night in Bristol, and this last Monday was the second time we had rehearsal. We were a very, very close-knit band. And of course, not being able to be together has been a real struggle. So the place we rehearse in actually now has live streaming facilities. So what we may do is look at putting some live stream gigs on, because before we haven't been able to do it. We tried it with Zoom. Multiple cameras all disparate, and because of the signal lapse, you can't. Music has to be a nanosecond on it, to sound good. So the slightest lag killed us. So that was disappointing, because we could see other guys out there doing sort of live streaming stuff, sort of singer solos per people. So we may do a live stream. But what has grabbed our attention, I don't know if you're doing this out in the States. I think you are. Car park gigs, where people drive to a venue in their car. We set up a stage. We even hear that facilities can FM, or there's a radio signal that comes out of it. Guys can drive into an area, sit in or outside their cars. They could play our music through their car stereos, plus hear us out the stage. That idea just alone sounds so cool. So we're actually looking into that at the moment and doing a outside car park gig.
So since COVID-19 started, the drive-in cinemas that we still have here in New Brunswick and in the Maritimes, they've picked up in business, because it's a great way to go and still do stuff and socially distance at the same time. Yeah. So
that's interesting. Do you know what? This COVID thing, I'm adamant. You come out the back end of this, things are going to be different than they normally are after you sort of get major events like this which hit our population. I think things are going to be quite interesting moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's interesting what you say about the drive-in sets and gigs, because it's a different type of music. But Dizzy Rascal is actually he's actually putting together a series of drive-through festivals all over the country. Hasn't said when that's going to be yet, but he's one of the figureheads of actually organising that. So it's obviously in the mind of the music industry that they want to get stuff like that done. So absolutely, I think that's how the music industry is going to have to go going forward, because I can't envisage anyone like me being able to go to a live venue until the end of the year. It's just the way things are going. I can't see it happening at all.
No, I mean, today the pub's open here. So, and our local's great. It's got a huge garden, but the pub's not open itself. You're going to be in the garden, you're drinking, and they've got sort of food stations around and stuff like that. And, how long is that going to go on? You're right. I mean, like, gigs, I appreciate the distancing's improving. I know where the States is with the COVID thing. We're sort of doing okay at the moment, but we know what's going to happen. You're right. We've pretty much written off this year. If we can do that festival in late October, then great. That'll indicate then that the doors are open to start booking it up again for 2021. But yeah, it's really challenging. Really challenging, actually.
Well, and that's part of the reason we went for a rebrand, because we both like music, and we decided that this is a great time to actually keep music acts connected with the community as well. And we've had a great response from people that listen to music and musicians themselves. Like, we literally could not believe the amount of bands that have reached out to us and said, "Oh yeah, we'll come on." and talk music. And there's something pretty exciting happening next. We're not going to let it slip right now. It's a secret, but there is something big happening for us next week, like massive. Right. So keep that in mind and watch this space. But
definitely.
We're keeping. We're coming to the end of the show. So something we ask every week is if you're going to pick your ultimate 3-man band, who would it be? So you have to pick drums, bass, and lead guitar / vocals.
All right, yeah, I got 3. So I got Dave Grohl. But from a guitarist point of view, I got Lars Ulrich from drums.
Okay.
And then we got Freddie Mercury. I know he's not around, but let's bring him back. And then I think that would be my 3 crazy lineup.
That would be quite the lineup. Dave Grohl and Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, man. Can you hear the harmonies? You know what I'm saying? That's wicked. Yeah.
A nightmare on stage. Them two like going for all the attention. Like it's
we fight. That's the idea. It'd be like massive entertainment value. Yeah, great question, guys. That's a really good question.
Great choice. So just one last thing to do now, and that's to introduce your track to us. Now, I know you've sent us through a video as well, so we're going to show that on our video version. But what we'd like you to do is just introduce the track and tell us a little bit about it as well. I know there's a special thing about this particular music video, so if you just want to tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we wanted to do something a little bit different with videos, and we don't have a huge amount of videos out there at the moment. So again, that's part of the mission with Hicktown, is to get more good content there. But we wanted to do a video for Roses. It's an upbeat, as you said. It's a fun song. It's got some sort of serious underlying messaging, I guess, behind it. But we wanted to do something for charity, and there's a homeless issue in Bristol. It's across the UK, but quite a lot in Bristol. So we got on the back of Centrepoint, which is a charity for young homeless people. So we just wanted to put a video together in the time of COVID, when there's sort of depression and people are unhappy and it's challenging, to have something fun out there. So we just put a post out saying, look, who wants to be in our video? And we had a hell of a lot of people coming in with clips. Of them singing along and dancing and that sort of stuff. So we edited that together and then pushed that out. And we're collecting money for the charity at the moment. It's been really well received. Just put the song on got a lot of hits now on the song from Spotify as well. But yeah, we just wanted it to be fun, but with a serious element of trying to help the young homeless.
So if anyone wants to go and watch it and donate, where can they do that?
So you can donate anyway. Just go onto the Centrepoint website and you can put a donation through there. If you want to check out our Facebook page, you'll see the Roses video. We've pinned it to the top of our profile, so you'll see a donate button on there. Or if you go onto YouTube, you can catch the video as well. So yeah, it's pretty out there. If you search for it, it'll come up in your web browser. Brilliant.
So do you want to introduce your track?
Yes, the next song is Roses.
Sitting here watching the moon from the bed of my old Ford pickup truck. Hot as hell at 12:30, and I can't believe my luck. Thinking of how you looked at me with those big gold hairs of lies. Loving the way your smile could make me fly. So won't you kiss me before the roses die? Just wanna hold you in my arms tonight. I know this might be crazy, but if you just give me a try. So won't you kiss me before the roses die? Before the roses die. let the world I know just drift away. Wait for you to be in my arms till my dying day. So won't you kiss me before the roses die? Just wanna hold you in my arms tonight. I know this might be scary, but if you just give me a try. So won't you kiss me before the roses die? Before the roses die. Die. Just wanna hold you in my arms tonight. I know this might be scary, but if you just give me a try. So won't you kiss me before the roses die?